Hello, everybody, and welcome to another bonus episode of the Headspace podcast, where we break down newish hip-hop albums track by track to give the thoughts and opinions that strike us as we go through each song. And every song's about something, so whatever you think about, that's what we try to talk about, keeping in mind that there's normally more than just a me, so when I say we, it's a little habitual, but my name is Holden Stephan Roy, or HSR, and today I will be running through the Rico Nasty Anger Management album. So if you want to skip the intro bit, you can check the description of this video, where you'll be able to see when I talk about each song on the project. In the meantime, I wanted to let you know that I recognize that I'm not like the most professional or opinion in hip-hop that should be taken the most seriously in regards to like being an authoritative figure. On the other hand, I do feel like I'm doing pretty well as being a student of the culture to like understand and just see what's out there. So the goal of this channel fundamentally is to look at these new albums that are coming out every week, and also simultaneously to explore the history of the old and classic albums, just to kind of see what's dope and what's not, and why people like certain things, and just try to come to like good conclusions about what's dope and not to say that I understand it, but I can tell you what I like or what I thought was interesting about a project, and we can discuss in the comments what you think about anything, really, because that's like the fun part of YouTube. It's not even so much making the video, it's talking to y'all in the comments that's turned out to be my favorite part, because usually the people coming to the videos know more than I do, so they teach me a whole bunch of shit. But I like to read my favorite comment on last week's video, and so for the bonus episodes, I just decided to pull comments I liked from any episode, really. And we talked about very recently Tyler, the Creator's Igor album, and on that review, we got a comment from DJ Tim Space King, and the reason I brought this up is because I have like this curiosity about the way people feature artists on albums, the order of it, like the rules to it, which do not seem to be 100% clear. So Tyler, the Creator, chose not to feature anybody in terms of publishing the featured artist on the project. To that, and I had commented on it that it's not my favorite, especially with my reviewer hat on. On the other hand, we can look at his point, which is there's other artists who don't put feature on the album because he's not the only one. You just got to enjoy the music. Tyler said it's not like the other albums because there's fans that'll be like, I want Bastard, I want Goblin, other albums, because fans are spoiled. And I can appreciate where he's coming from. The idea that by not knowing who's on the album per se, you're not really having any expectations. You can just kind of like close your eyes and enjoy it, which is added to the global point because, as he pointed out, people do have expectations and preferences for what they want. And so I thought that was a really cool comment and really insightful in regard to something we had talked about, something that like adds to it, because I believe that most of us tend to take a little glance at the comment section as we're watching videos just to see what other people have to say. So having these like really well thought out comments just makes me like feel kind of proud that this is what we're able to contribute to this whole situation. So I look forward to seeing what y'all have to say. Before we jump into it, I want to just give a special thanks to the patrons: Ismail Gadamsi, Chris Prado, DJ Black Hurricane, Linda Williams, and Jonathan Barnes. Sorry about that. We'll talk a bit about it at the end of the episode. On that note, it's time for us to get into talking about Rico Nasty and Kenny Beats' project Anger Management. And at this part of the show, I like to contextualize how familiar I am with a particular artist, and just to give you like that kind of context, because I think if you understand where I'm at listening to this project, you're gonna take you're going to keep that in mind, I suppose, as you go through this review. Because if I don't, and I come off like, yo, I know everything, and I'm the coolest motherfucker ever, and then I say whatever I say in the comments after, I know that you will go out of your way to put me in my place. So rather than that, I take the more humble approach and just let you know what's up. And I feel like it's important. If you've been a fan of Rico Nasty since her first like song, you've been like bumping her for the last couple of years, and you've been rooting for her, and you get to this point where she drops this project, you're gonna be feeling a certain way about it, happy, sad, like, is it the direction you want her to go in? All sorts of thoughts that are gonna be in your version of the conversation. My version of the conversation is I was watching State of the Culture, and Scotty Beam had commented on how we should support more black women. And I realized with this whole album review thing, we do not have a good percentage of men to women in general, let alone black women. So I just decided, as I was thinking about it, and like I look at Scotty Beam's Twitter because I think she's really interesting to follow. It's just somebody with like ideas that I don't ever think about, so I think it's handy to like see what she has to say, even if I might not be the person she thinks is listening. I don't know, but I find her fascinating, and I really enjoy the conversations on State of the Culture, so I feel like it inspired me. And I went and looked up female albums that had come out this year, and I came up with the Lizzo album review, which for Cause I Love You, which we just put out recently, and then this Rico Nasty and Kenny Beats Anger Management. So on that note, if there are other great female projects that have come out in 2019 that you feel should be covered, I think I would like to go out of my way to cover a few more over the next little bit, and just try and show some love in that direction. So if you want to just tell me what your favorites were that came out, let's say within the last year, we'll put it to that frame, and then we can just try and do those reviews and see what's up. I mean, I don't think I have any clout to really push new shit, but like just like maybe 20 people that would actually be exposed to it. So like for those 20 people, like we can educate. But on that note, I don't know who Rico Nasty is really, only that she's a name I've seen kind of come up recently, and I don't know who Kenny Beats is. And I looked them up briefly. There isn't a whole bunch of information yet. But what really appealed to me was the sound of this project. So I didn't just like blindly pick it. I put on the first song or two, and I was like, whoa, what is this? Plus, I'm not going to lie, for the amount of like time it takes to review an album, the 18-minute length on this project was also pretty appealing. So I was like, it's short and it sounds very invigorating. I must cover this project. On that note, it's called Anger Management. When you look at her face, and it's almost like we have like her third eye opened up with a mouth, like it's just screaming out like what's coming out of her mouth. It's almost like some prophetic vision or some super insight, like, because of that whole third eye mythos that comes around it. But like the look on her face is fucking fierce, like she's ready to go, with some cool ass like makeup coloring that, I don't know, she just looks like she's ready to go. I know the camera's here, but like her face is over there for me, so I'm anyway, I'm pretty raw with this shit. Anyway, I like the look of it. She looks powerful. She looks ready to go. But she also looks like she'll take you to fuck out if you like mess with her, just like from the cover alone. You got both the artist names and this drippy font on the bottom, and I think that's cool because the real focus is the title Anger Management at the top, which kind of overarches her. And it's like, it makes me curious, like, what is this project going to be about? This lady maybe has some powerful emotions, and I kind of want to hear what they are. So on that note, without further ado, I'm going to start, let's start this off with the track Cold. Like I said, I had like no fucking idea what this shit was gonna actually sound like. So it starts off and you just hear, hey, you there? Aren't you tired of the same old thing at every day, every minute, every second, everybody, everything? And then like the beat or she screams out Kenny, who's like the producer, and the song starts. But like right at the beginning, it introduces this album in a way that I think is meant to manage your expectations, but with some like really good, well thought out reasoning behind it. So as you'll know if you've heard this song, it's quite out there in terms of the production work. So I think she's letting you know right off the jump that musically she's trying to subvert the typical expectations of what we're all supposed to do. Instead, she's going out of her way to maybe break the norms, because the truth is so much shit just sounds the same. I know that in many people's camps they tend to maybe just like the same thing a lot, and maybe I've become a bit of a snob in my desire to hear new and different shit as opposed to just hearing the same thing and stuff. Like, there's a lot of people that are deemed really popular or very distinct that are really just reintroducing tried old styles to a new generation. But for like the older crowd, it has like a nostalgia factor, but it sounds fresh. And for like the younger crowd, it's just like, wow, this is new, because they haven't heard the older shit. So considering the honesty in hip hop in terms of lyrics these days in the pop sphere, I don't mean in the underground or with the legit folk, I mean in general, how the more pop side positions themselves. Flashy shit tends to stick better than legitimate stuff, is a good way to put it. So I can kind of appreciate just her mindset right at the beginning, where to me, I agree, so much shit sounds the same. You hear a lot of new stuff, and I feel like we cherry pick some albums that tend to sound really good, but in a lot of cases it's like the classic sounds being redone now, and it sounds dope. But like the actually like distinct out there completely new shit, there's not that many people doing it, because it's not that marketable and it's not that easy to push product in the YouTube era. You might think it is, but with the YouTube era, you're playing the algorithms. So you'll see like all these talented artists that basically make the same style songs and the same style trend hoppy shits, and it's like authenticity isn't necessarily rewarded. I don't know. This review might be tangential. That's something I do. But all of that is what I was thinking about right off of the very beginning. And usually that's a really good sign, in my opinion. It then kicks in with this crazy ass beat that's just all over the fucking place in terms of like this industrial kind of meets hip hop, super awesome, almost nu metal-y sound, which is great because I keep wanting nu metal to come back. So to see people doing stuff that's like in the same vein as like nu metal truly makes me happy. So I was already sold because she hit my 31-year-old ass's nostalgia factor by pulling into this resurgence that I've been praying is going to happen for like, I don't know, 10 years. So thank you, Rico Nasty. You got me very happy, and the song's barely started. The way she raps has this aggressive yelliness to it, but it isn't like inaudible screaming. I know some people may hear that because that's just what they want to hear per se, but I feel like she enunciates super clearly. Her flow is so well timed, on point. I mean, she's a really talented rapper. From what I understand, her dad is a rapper and she's been at this for a very long time. And what I can say is, while she's young, you can feel the years of practice and experience in being a vocalist coming through. So I'm like duly impressed with her flow and her skill and just her ability to, while maintaining this more aggressive, screamy voice, sounding crisp as fucking day. And that's a truly cool thing. Lyrically, it's flossy and aggressive. It'd be the same thing just on a different day. This ain't no bud. This shit ain't gonna fade away. Because like she goes in and she comes hard and whatnot, and unlike a pile of marijuana, which is super lovely at first, and then the more you like consume it, the smaller the pile gets. Or if you want to compare that to a flashy hit, a good example of that would be Post Malone's Rockstar in my life. That shit, when it came out, for maybe 3 to 4 months, it was a giant pile of weed to me. And then it faded away. And whereas this Rico Nasty shit that we're supposed to be getting here is not gonna behave like that. And I think she's right. I think this is gonna go way more into hate it or love it territory. But if you love it, this is gonna be something you're gonna want to go back to because it really sounds fucking proper. It's like if nu metal-esque music was being created with 2019's dope ass flows and shit, but with like it's so cool. No one went fade away. Shots like a fadeaway. Smile in a hater's face. Watch what the fuck you say. I got some crazy ways. Do it like Simon Says. Look at my diamond stance. Born in a lion's den. It's flashy. It's got a flow to it that's actually dope. Like, she's basically trumping what, like this, in my opinion, is better written than a lot of the more poppy shit that you'll see. Because if you're gonna do flashy rhymes, you can do like the one-liner shit, or you can do the kind of keeping it going so that like the first line of shit's gonna fade away kind of sounds cooler when she uses multiple versions of how fade away works. It like amplifies the rhyme. And then to maintain the rhyme scheme, to flip it to smile on a hater's face to let you know that like this is gonna be her reaction, her attitude. Watch what the fuck you say. A little bit of a warning, you know? And then I got some crazy ways. But like when she's saying it over this music with this tone of voice and shit, it's hella like believable compared to like take like an imposing Migos song. And I don't mean to like throw shots, but like, I'm gonna come fuck you up for the bag. Like, that shit just is not energetic or really I mean, you know what? I'm not saying they won't fuck me up for the bag. It's just the way they say it doesn't sound very tough. Unlike, you know, Rico Nasty over here, who combined with the Kenny Beats has created an explosive, like, mosh pit banger that's just truly delightful to listen to. I mean, the chorus is dope. She can try, but she don't compare. When I pull up, you know it's me. Ain't none of these bitches cold as me. Cross you just like a rosary. I can't, like, say that any of that's, like, insightful or, like... And when I say insightful, I mean... It's not deep, it's not unique, it's not like anything more than what other people are saying, except that I believe her, whereas I don't necessarily believe other people. And that's important to me. Maybe it's just a gut feeling, but like, I feel like at a certain point, you can just tell by the combination of how it just sounds when they spit it and the writing, like she is aiming to be real as fuck. And she made a wrestling fucking line, riding in a Maserati like Scotty, I'm with two hotties. I mean, now she's clicked up and making wrestling puns. I'm just like, this is clever. And she's young, so I'm sitting there going, holy fuck, man, by the time she's like 32, just imagine like the type of shit she's gonna be banging out. This is like really exciting music to me. I like the hook. None of these bitches cold as me. Like, it's something to sing along to. It's extremely catchy, gets stuck in your head. The beat's alive, and the song is short, but considering it's 2.5 minutes, typically what you would get from like this kind of shorter structure is something more in the ballpark of like, I don't know, Old Town Road, where like you get a 4-line hook and like 8 lines of a verse that's really like 4 of her lines, and then she's really filling this out and giving you a lot of like content to fuck around with and to like spit it out immaculately. Like, this is a really dope track. I'm really enthralled with it. I'm not 100% sure if I'm just hit with a nostalgia feel or not. I feel like it's just a 4.35 on 5. It's extremely well made, but I know that once the new metal excitement, I get past it, I'm gonna be like, this is good for like I was playing Skyrim while I was listening to this album because I have a Switch, and I was shooting barbarians and shit, and this is really good gaming music. Is definitely somewhere in my life for like that higher energy moment, so I could see myself cycling on my way to work and just screaming this shit out. You know, it's got a great purpose in life. Anyway, it flows seamlessly into the next song, which is called Cheat Code. So this starts off with some shit that, like, it was a rabbit hole for me. So I click on this Genius annotation to explain where this sample is from. Like, this is some professional, like, and this shit is in different areas. What the fuck? This ain't no homemade. And then you're like, I'm like, what the fuck is this? I guess it's something people know about because it's right here in this song. So thankfully, Genius annotator person filled this out. This sample is taken from the 3rd season of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, and this explains to me why I do not know what this is. I have never watched Love and Hip Hop. During a scene in which the 2 cast members, Erica Dixon and Ariane Davis, watch fellow castmate Mimi Faust's sex tape Mimi and Nico Scandal in Atlanta, released by Vivid Entertainment. I know what Vivid Entertainment is. They do make a higher end porn production quality. So that makes sense. I also watched this clip for about a minute of these two ladies watching it, and it was very dramatic the way one of them like threw the laptop down, and it was almost like they'd never seen porn before. I didn't really understand the reaction. I guess it's good TV, but I mean, it seemed like a very strong reaction to people shooting a porn in your house. Or maybe I'm just really not fazed by that personally. Either way, a fun fact is that there was this I am disgusted meme or whatever that came from this, and it literally was used in Final Fantasy 15 as part of the dialogue. They just throw in her I am disgusted as a little Easter egg. And I thought that was incredible, that journey that I went down was worth my time, because it was really great to learn all that shit. Anyway, the song kicks in, and it's cool. It follows suit in like another crazy little chaotic exploration. It's another like 2-minute little experience, but she packs so much into this 2 minutes that it's worth more than another person's 3.5-4 minute song, just because while it's almost like it's 2 minutes only because the tempo is so fast and otherwise would be like a 3-minute track. I think it's so dope. People keep trying to test my gangster. Pull up on a block with a mask like Jason. I don't really got no patience. I can never wait on a person to come save me. This pussy gonna drive you crazy. Riding in a new all-black Mercedes. It's not like she's saying anything new here, but what she is saying sounds fly. Like, it just sounds cool with her, again, like, distinct sounding voice. And I mean, if there's gonna be moments where you want that like more vapid style of hip-hop, where you just want to put something on to pump you up and make you feel a certain way, I'm not gonna lie, this Rico Nasty shit makes me feel more excited and pumped up than a lot of stuff I've heard that's supposed to pump you up. Like, it's just got this energy that I'm really feeling. I don't know. All these bitches want to sound like Rico. Big money, never had a Chico. Bitch, I ball hard, no free throw. Got my own money, I don't need yours. I love the independent style of it. I love how she's able to just sound like such a strong and independent person out there. And like, you get the sense that she really studied like the OG culture of how you're supposed to be according to, let's say, the more golden era of hip-hop culture, and is almost embodying the spirit of that in an unapologetic, I don't give a fuck kind of way, but where she doesn't really have to say she doesn't give a fuck. You just know it by the swagger in the way she delivers her shit. I don't know, the second verse is just as strong, like, treat you like gum, spit you out if I ain't feeling you. I just want to know why all these bitches so predictable. I can never be typical. Don't come out the house unless I'm wearing something whimsical. From where I made it out there looking like a miracle, you know? Don't say shit you don't mean, because I'm literal. It's like you get the sense of her personality, bluntly real, over the top, self-aware of her personality, understanding that it's her personality that's almost like the attractive part of who she is. Like, I'm gonna follow her on Twitter. I want to see what the fuck's up. I saw her learning how to do the Old Town Road dance with Lil Nas X, because that was a recent tweet that was happening. Either way, she runs on through. She goes, no more motel, eating on oxtail, bitches on my coattail, singing to the money like I was Adele. It's just this. First of all, oxtail is pretty good. I'm looking forward to having more. There's a great little Caribbean place by my crib that is, the roti was the bomb. And then, yeah, she's just like, she just sounds so like powerful in the sense that she's on this grind. And if you really just consider her ability to produce, if she can keep at this for like the next 10 years, holy shit, like she's gonna have a little empire and stuff. Anyway, it's pretty dope. And then, yeah, I don't know, I like it. I gave this one another 4.35. I thought it was pretty equal to the last song, pretty hype, pretty got me going. On that note, I hope nobody thinks that I'm hating. It's almost like she wanted to like use this album as like a calling card to A, cope with certain aggression and put it down in like a productive way. I'm just taking an assumption from the album title. I mean, it's good to take your emotions and vent them out through rap. I mean, that's half the purpose of making art, in my opinion. But she takes the dirt on your shoulders beat. which is a fly fucking beat. And I feel like on this track, instead of maybe doing some more experimental stuff, she kind of goes in a more classic direction on it and just shows that, hey, look, I'm doing this the entire time. Yeah, I got bitches on my dick and I ain't even got a dick. That's a fair start, man. Cause yo, like I'm sitting here going, she's fucking talented and shit, and she can just spit that line and it completely works. Cause I'll bet that's how people are. She doesn't even need one. She's fly as fuck. She's in that sphere of being Gucci. Yeah, I know I get him sick. I saw your person on my hip. This money in a Gucci clip. You know that I don't ever trip. Just got back from another trip. No acrobat, I make it flip. I mean, that's pretty dope. It's not like gain. It's like, this isn't super deep, but it's really solid wit. It's really flowy. It's like the type of shit you want to put on when you're just trying to ride in your car and feel a little bit gangster in suburbia. I'm not gonna lie, that's when I would feel like just sitting in traffic, you know, trying to look a little bit cool. Like on my cycle, I like to like pretend I can dance and shit while I'm biking. That's what this is. It's just bump to it. But meanwhile, like her writing game and her pen is completely on point. She's saying dope shit. She's making it rhyme, and like it's cohesive and it keeps flowing. Like this whole verse is about how fucking dope she is. So keep that shit in mind when you think about I'm me. I know what I'm doing. You ain't gotta keep an eye on me. I be counting money like how to be counting calories. Like that's sick, man. It's like other people than who she's comparing to, the people who are jealous of her and shit, are living lifestyle A, this more typical maybe female lifestyle, where she's living lifestyle B, which is on that paper chase, doing the grind shit, doing it proper. I got her mad at me. 21, make 20,000 a show. That's your salary. Smoking green like celery. I mean, yeah, if she's pulling 20,000 a show and she's making this happen, hats off. You completely fucking deserve that shit. It's fucking dope. I just hype. I mean, if you feeling like a boss bitch, go to the club, leave that at home. If you got your own shit, you ain't ever gotta listen to them. Girl, be hating on bitches. You know, these be hating on bitches. And I think it's cool the way she kind of jacked the concept of pimping, turned it into like boss bitch, and attached the freeloading types and almost gives the ladies their own version of this shit to anthem to, which is pretty fucking powerful. Like I'm the one with the sauce and that's so easy to see. I got him in the house wondering how it's easy for me. I went from 1-bedroom apartments in the trenches to waking up and it's Versace all on my pillows. I just don't get it. It's like you hear that and it really does remind me of the people who came from like this struggle of a situation. They now have some dope shit going on. They can't understand why their friends are hating on them, why people are so jealous of them. So on the one hand, they're like, yo, it's so clear to me that I'm dope. These are the rewards of my success. Why the fuck is you being jealous? I don't know. I really like how it ends with, I knew the bitches would run when I pulled up on the bitches, but it's okay because I know the game and I play my position. And it's like, you really get the sense that just from hearing these 3 songs that she's a woman who completely understands how the marketing works, what her brand is about, the path that she's paving into this hip-hop game. Like the whole future is like, you can just see she's got that vision, and I think it's really cool and it's really inspiring to listen to. This one I liked more. This one I thought was like, okay, the first 2 it was kind of experimental and dope, and I wasn't 100% sure if I would like it all the time, but like I'll be honest, I like this shit pretty strong up there. I don't want to say like, I mean the original is pretty next level, but like for an alternative twist over that beat, this did the justice I was hoping it would do. On that note, the next song is about big titties. Even play games, I just play with your front hole in your back. They do it now, but I've been doing it. I mean, I don't really know what her older music sounds like, so I don't really know what version of whatever stuff is going to be like her more traditional sound. But we went from the old school car, maybe vibing to it situation, to the strip club. Definitely we're in the strip club with this sound. I'm not hating it. I'm just saying that's where we are now. This one features, it says Baauer and EarthGang, and then on Genius it says Johnny Venus and Dr. Dot, and I don't really know who's who, so I'm going to go with who Genius says is spitting the verses, but right off the jump, you get the sense that, like, this is a very pro, like, sexuality, but, like, in a blunt and dope-ass way, right? Like, yeah, your ass fat, but you a whack attack, see the money, you can't wait to latch, skirting off, ain't talking quickie, talking, get me out here, atmosphere, dinosaur, battleship, that'll teach your ass a lesson. Sorry. Well, that part's definitely about don't come after me for the money. And then describing how it made, like, he doesn't want to pay for sex, okay? It's understandable. Like, there is probably a certain degree of ladies who approach you and say, some cash that just want to fuck you for your money. Meanwhile, what you really want to do is fuck them because you're a porn star superstar with the magic dick, and you want your ego to, like, be satisfied because you gave her amazing orgasm skills over your super powerful prowess as a dude. Which you can see with, I can hit the cookie right and make your body curl up, got the pussy purring cat calling to me, clitoris. That's a great line. Got the pussy purring cat calling to me. And like wave, like how cat calling works, that's actually just, it's a sick line. Clitoris in one half, feline in the other. Woof, because, you know, like, you're working on it. He's fingering her adequately. He is giving her proper pleasure. Simultaneously make the whole household nut up, send you back to your mother's, cop cutting, shut up, I don't pee coat, bitches, bow for me like Rico. Anyway, he knows how to please a lady, and that's what it's about, but evidently doesn't want to have a quickie or doesn't want, if I'm misinterpreting this, I am sorry. This is just what I got from it, because whatever. And it just kind of feels like he doesn't want to do the money, or I don't really care anymore. I'm gonna move on to the next verse so I don't keep ruminating. Either way, it's really dope, and I really enjoy listening to it. And the second verse follows suit, like, all these fuck crackers, why bitches don't trust people. I'm the one she hit up the minute she done with you. She can't get a taste, I never been vanilla. I like that because, you know, all the other guys out there are very boring in the intercoursing game. And once the lady was done with the boring guy, she realized she was not satisfied and had to come over to him, which probably makes his ego feeling very good, because it's very nice if a person goes, yo, that guy didn't satisfy me. I require you to satisfy me. As a male, I know that is a great thing to hear. So I appreciate where he's coming from on this shit. Yeah, I like the vanilla part, because if you're not, vanilla is like when you're boring in sex, and so he's not boring, and he will do some shit like lick her asshole. You ain't pull her, peep the bio and book her like Matilda, because that attitude out, try to get her boot up, gotcha. Anyway, it flows in through, and I really do like, sorry, at the end of the first verse, I forgot about this. I like when he goes, I just play with your front hole and your back hole. I really like that. That is the cheat code. And if the lady's open-minded, that is a nice cheat code. It is a good time. And so I like how blunt it is. I like how fun it all makes it. And like the object isn't so much about his pleasure, but it is about her pleasure. In the same way, the second verse kind of does the same thing. It's like he is an excellent in bed, but it's because he's doing shit like diving into the pussy head verse. If you ain't gonna let that bitch finish, my white start. So it's like really enforcing the idea that, so instead of just having an ego about being good in bed, you also require the technique to pull it off and to satisfy the lady and ensure that she gets the pleasure that she deserves given the intercourse that she is providing you, which is a good service. I might sound a little bit sarcastic or whatever, but I'm just trying to be creative with how I describe this shit. I'm actually really feeling the message of the song. It makes total sense, and it's actually really cool. Because if we can show people how we can talk about sex without being misogynistic and shit, then we can start talking about sex again, because right now it's fucking weird. And so I'm really proud of like hearing this type of shit, because it's pretty dope. Like, it sounds like these dudes really care about the lady. And then Rico Nasty comes in with that third verse. Oh, on the chorus, she's just flossing like, they do it now, but I did catch me at the show signing up on some big titties. Pull up on who, must be kidding. I'ma go and get it. That's the only mission. And she just sounds flossy, fucking dope. Like, I don't know. I can't describe how much I feel like her energy really appeals to me. The third verse is great. You hoes can't pull it off like me, talk like me, you bet you want to be the boss like me. All these hoes want to sauce like me, floss like me, walk in the club with no ID. Shit. The way she flows that, it actually kind of sounds like in the real Slim Shady. It's like, all these people want to talk like me, walk like me, like that little part. She kind of sounds like that as she's spitting it. I'm so icy to keep on biting on me. And it's interesting how she's establishing herself as like a trend-setting role, something that other people want to copy. So at the end of the day, her value is this high. She also goes, I'm so supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. And so I wondered what the fuck that would mean. And I made that little effort. Roughly translated, we can say that word, if we take the sum of its parts and break it down, stands for atoning for educability, which is defined as your ability to learn through delicate beauty. So in a sense, it's like, I would interpret that as meaning you're making up for not learning through being hot. And I don't know, or maybe you're actively learning through delicate beauty. It's just an interesting line. I wonder how many people sat there and said, wait a second, what does I'm so supercalifragilisticexpialidocious actually mean? So I always wanted to say it again because I don't often get to say that word. You wonder why your life sucks? It's because you ain't focused. Don't give that boy the pussy if you know he ain't worth it. He ain't earned it. You worth way more than a Birkin. It's just like, holy shit. She's telling the ladies, close, not in a disrespectful way, but like, close it up unless the guy is actually worth your time. Maybe a nice bag looks real good at the beginning when you're young or something. But on the real, if you value yourself properly, you can find a partner who can help you establish some shit. I'm not trying to apply morals. Like, honestly, I don't care what people do. You want to fuck 1,000 dudes, I'm going to respect you the same as if you were banging like one dude religiously. And I think monogamy can also be viewed both as overrated or completely the right way to approach it. I'm not trying to impose anything. I'm just commenting what pops into my head. But she seems to be implying that it's not so much about banging the guys. It's about banging the wrong guys who aren't worth your time. And I do think that maybe as people, we should learn how to be promiscuous with wisdom. Like, there's nothing wrong with promiscuity, but maybe if you hang out with people who inspire you, you end up creating dope arts like the super famous people who have lots of lovers, as opposed to if you serial date people who use you and treat you poorly, you might end up not in the best situation. Just like a way to like look at that. I digress. I really like this song. I think it's just as good as the last song, so I give it a 4.5. It's fucking fly. On that note, I think it's time, from what I understand, it to be Rico Nasty's first ever skit. It's the Nasty World skit. Or from the tree. I mean, this just kind of sounds like a radio interlude. And given that this whole album is like 18 minutes, it kind of could be viewed as like a little all-encompassing radio program. Like, it's very easy to listen to this entire project in one sitting. So with that in mind, having this little mock commercially announcer breaking up the program type thing, it's kind of cool, and it really works because it fits the motif of what we've been listening to, or like general style linguistically. Like, there's Tim and Nasty Ned, and I'm not 100% sure who the fuck they are, but this is Rico Nasty World. You think you got what it takes to get nasty? You think you got what it takes? Your mother did. That apple didn't fall far from the tree. So it's like, you know, implying, oh, you think you whatever, you're nasty, and then it implies loosely that he fucked the mom and now he's about to fuck the daughter because she's the same type of person. I mean, that's what I took as the implication. It's a little comical. It's a little nasty. And then, all right, Tim, we're checking in with our nasty listeners out there. Be sure to keep that pussy popping till the police come knocking. Don't ever stop it. Up next, Nasty News with Kenny Beats. This is Nasty Ned. Keep giving that nasty head. Sayonara, folks. And I had to co-sign the message of keep giving that nasty head. I thought that was fair. It's a good thing to encourage. But in general, this just sounded like really enforcing, be shocking, be yourself, just fucking go out there. Like, I think it can be construed as maybe some bad shit or whatever, but it just kind of sounds like some good fun in the spirit of like pushing boundaries and whatnot. I like it, but I'm also certain that I can listen to this album without ever hearing a skit again, and it's totally cool. I give it a 4.25. It's a well-made skit that's thought out, and it just feels like it's part of the project as you're playing it through. So it does its job well, and it doesn't get annoying. On that note, the next track is called Relative.
I'm riding. I don't do no hiding. Higher than a bitch that's addicted to skydiving.
I feel like this one is also a little bit more for those like hip-hop old head types where you're just rapping in a more rap conventional sense. It's not like super experimental and crazy. The beat's smooth. It's got like a piano. It's almost like you're waiting for story time the second it kicks in, and she doesn't like fail to kind of come in with a proper narrative. I be getting money, not everybody my relative. Right off the jump, it's something that really like concerns me in my life. Like, I'm not very close to a lot of people. Let's say somehow I have 100,000 subscribers in like 2 months. I'm not very optimistic for that, but let's say it happened. I bet everybody would be talking to me like I'm cool all of a sudden when nobody gave a shit before. So she's pulling 20th show, a multiple show a year. She pulling hella decent money at this point, even with all expenses and shit probably that she has incurred. She's doing quite well, you could say. And just the age-old idea that your like third cousin from Timbuktu is going to show up and be like, hey, remember me? You know, like it's just... You know, they're all talking about it's all love. Like, I don't know what jealousy is. Extra, extra, read all about it. Walked up in the club and I'm dressed so stylish. What is this, a skating rink? Because these bitches childish. I just bought a new Beamer truck. It came with no mileage. So it's like, on the one hand, her life has this success where she has accomplished the kinds of things that people just wish they could do. Like, it takes a certain type of person, a certain level of wealth to be able to purchase the car and it actually be yours versus, say, renting it for the sake of a music video to like fake it till you make it and shit. I don't know. This one just kind of presents shit like she is wealthy, she has her clique up, and she kind of has no interest in the fake people that are now popping up all around her to like cash in on her little meal ticket. So I thought this was a pretty legitimate and honest song. I thought it was totally worth listening to. I gave it another 4.5. It's very short. It's like 1 minute and 20 seconds. I don't know. I like this little outro. It says she does a lot of daydreaming, imagining herself as an extrovert that she is not. She goes over and over little events in her life, reliving the successes and suffering through her failures all over again. And that is something I could relate to. That is like ruminating and reflecting on your world. So I'm a bit of an awkward person and I struggle a lot with connecting to people properly. So usually what'll happen is I'll go throughout my day and then later on I will sit there and spend significant time almost replaying all the key moments, flashing over it, trying to figure out what I did right, wrong, what's a win, what's a loss, and to the extent where it's like you honestly relive all your successes while simultaneously you kind of go through all your failures again. And I thought that was really honest sounding. And if you listen to the overall tone of their album and the overall point where she has this conflict in her life, she must have all these interactions where she's forced to reflect and just almost wonder what the right thing to do was. Either way, I think it's really well placed and it really follows this more pensive song. And then in case it was gonna get too serious or too whatever, she does change the mood.
How about the coupe and I'm dripping like ooh. I got the sauce for this stuff. I said ooh. Yeah, she want beef.
Like, this is like experimental trap. I don't know if this is like a standard trap sound, but it definitely kind of has like the trap feel to it, but with like some weirdness going on in the beat that I really like. Kind of excites me a little bit and makes it just stronger than it would be without that little bit of experimentalness going on. It's just like this more industrial kind of sound to it. What I really like about the verses to this song is that they do that back and forth thing, like shoot from the ground, got a grip on the K. When you come to the trap, put a break in your face. That's Splurge, the featured artist on this track. So right there, it's almost like, yo, okay, so you know, if you come here, we got a gun, and if you fuck around, we'll shoot you, whatever. It's not really that I don't care about it. It's just It's just flossy. It's the kind of hard, trappy shit that you would typically hear. But then she comes in immediately after, don't come around here, you could get braced, go yard bag, I got racks in the safe. Then he comes in like, gotta come get your bitch because she's staying in my way, gotta stay with the stick, guess I'm stuck in my ways. Now, allow me to be clear in light of my potential hateristic attitude here. It's well written and it's actually really flowing proper, and the way he enunciates got that like lazy sounding kind of trap enunciation, but he's really clear to me and he does it right, and she just sounds like she bounces off of him extremely well, you know, and they both just kind of floss and they both just kind of follow through in that really almost standard what you would kind of expect kind of way. And I don't mean that in a bad way, I mean it like they do it better than a lot of other people in my opinion. And then I like how it's like, dudes is broke, hoes too, dude's cap, got no loot, you can get wrapped if you thinking I'm cool, pouring the juice trying to get in the mood. I want your friend and you, hop up the coupe and I'm dripping like, ooh, I got the salsa, they stuck out like some glue. If she want beef, we gonna shoot on the roof. I mean, I don't really know that I can comment a lot on that, except that they clearly feel that a lot of people are inferior to them. But I kind of think Rico Nasty raps really well, so I'm totally fine with listening to her like flow with this dude, and I think he sounds proper too. Ultimately, the second verse is the entire same kind of flow. They just kind of rap back and forth. Like, I really like when she goes, I got the honey, my money way too blue. I got that honey like Winnie the Pooh. I mean, come on, the fact that you're able to take Winnie the Pooh eating honey and make that motherfucking hard is actually significantly dope in and of itself, just because it's a good juxtaposition of some childish shit that she's making make sense. Like we play in dice, you know, we gonna shoot, feeling like Biggie, bitch, give me the loot. That's nice. Throwing some homage to some inspirations in people and showing that she can make puns. I think that's important. I think a lot of the younger ones don't do that shit where they let you know that they listen to the classics and respect it, and it's a sad thing, and it really should be done. You should be like paying that homage because it's cool. These people started that shit and you're just moving it forward, and it's fucking dope like that. I gave the song 4.4. I'd have given it a 4.5 if I'd have cared a little bit more about what they were rapping about, but in general, it's just another fly, fun fucking song to listen to that I think is dope. Honestly, so's the next one. Why don't we talk about Sellout?
I had to let out, lost a few friends, me and money never fell out. Yeah, I might sell out, but I ain't no sellout.
So, this might be my favorite song on the project. It's got a really cool, like, upbeat, but still kind of really rich beat that just kind of creates this more positive vibe that maybe we've gotten through the rest of the project. The first line, I'm the best at being me. A lot of y'all can't relate. Well, I can relate, Rico Nasty. I think that's why I like your music, because that lyrics like that. She's unapologetically herself, which means that she's not trying to copy some shit. She's just doing herself in different ways. And I can get that. I mean, I try to be unapologetically me. Probably to my chagrin. If I faked it more, I'd have a lot more success in this little YouTube sphere and shit. But that's not really what I do. I figure at some point being yourself is the right way to approach this. If all the talented motherfuckers spit it like that. That with the wisdom, and yeah, I made some mistakes and whatnot. But it's still really like a strong start. It lets you know that Rico is real. And I think that's a very important thing. The only thing I care about is food on my plate. Every time I hit the stage, it'd be a sold-out date. Remember back when I used to sit in line and wait. So she cares about achieving enough wealth to feed herself and her family and, you know, take care of some shit. And then, like, you know, if you look at the sellout line and realize she's talking about, you know, kind of selling out shows now and being kind of successful, you know, pointing out the haters that are coming in. Now it's mine every time. Now it's mine. I take every time they hate. Man, these people don't know shit about the time it take. And I think that's something I touched on earlier. You can tell that she's put in a lot of time into this craft in a way where a lot of the younger ones maybe have not. You can't just start rapping and be that amazing at it after a couple of years. Sure, you can pop out a flow or two, but she's got like some deep ingrained in her level of flow that is hard to describe really, but you can just tell that she understands like the math behind a flow and how to nuance that shit proper. But yeah, so like when she's commenting on the haters here, it's just to point out like they don't really get the effort that she's put in to be in the position of why she's got it. This shit doesn't happen overnight. You got to put in a significant amount of time building equity for people to really care. Try to box me in. I don't need no oxygen. You can never leave me to die. I was born to win. You just gotta love yourself. Don't worry about what everyone is doing or did. You think you're down, but you could get left. Don't worry about where everyone is going and been. And I like how she's like saying, focus on your world, on your successes, on how you can improve, on how you can get there. And if you worry and compare yourself to everyone else, you're gonna go fucking nuts. And if you try to be like everything else, you're gonna go fucking nuts. I don't know, man. This song has such a powerful flow. And then when you get to that chorus, yeah, I might sell out, but I ain't no sellout. The kids stay around even though the door's let out. Had a lot of build up anger I had to let out. Lost a few friends, me and my money never fell out. That's like a mission statement. I might sell out the show, but I stay true to myself and I'm not a sellout. The kids feel that shit, so they stick around because they want to meet me and shit. How about a built up anger that I had to let out? A conducive way to like make a project is to let that anger out and to rap and to like create this positive outlet to do your own thing. It's like she lost some friends because of success, but you know, she has money, so that's a good friend of hers. I mean, that sounds like what it is like as you achieve real success in your world. People will become jealous and shit. Ultimately, you look at that second verse when she goes, the expression of anger is a form of rejuvenation. I'm screaming inside my head in hopes that I'm easing the pain, which makes you think back to the album cover. She's screaming out from inside her head. Memories in my brain, thinking I'm going insane. Everyone knowing my name, but somehow I'm feeling the same. So with the success and all the things changing, she still has this frustration and she still needs this outlet and she still pushes it. It's just really like a fun song that it makes me feel better listening to it because I can relate to a lot of what she's describing here. Whereas the world changes and you feel the same kinds of things and you need to just get that shit out. And just sometimes just nothing better than writing out some shit and letting it out and expressing it. And then it helps a lot. I digress. I give this song 5 on 5. It is fucking great. Like, if there's one song I can guarantee you I'm going back to on this project, it is this Sellout track. And then it kind of ends with this shit where she goes, this has been course 1 of Rico Nasty's anger management semen, and it just cuts into the next song, which is called Again.
Let me take a deep breath. I ain't going broke again. I did it all on my own.
On the real, I'm not the biggest fan of this song. It is kind of more in that auto-tune, singy, rap flowy shit. So, I don't mean to call it shit, but in that world. And I would say that in the vein of showing multiple styles being tackled by the same person on a diverse project and to show her versatility, it's a very good tactical choice. On the other hand, I just don't know that I connect with this one on the sound as much, but lyrically it's fine. I don't have a choice. I gotta run it up. I got me a little change, but it's just not enough. Thought I fell in love, but I found out it was lust. I felt like something was missing. It must have been trust. And like, it's strong. You get the sense of growth that she's learning kind of about how to manage expectations, and even just the idea of being able to identify love versus lust is a maturity that's really well beyond that of the average 21-year-old. But the way she sings it, I honestly am glad I'm reading it, because then I caught the message, because I just found like it was hard for me to listen to just over the style, just because it's not my favorite sounds. However, what she's saying is very potent, and maybe like it totally makes sense to be the last song, because it's like explaining a little bit how to be showing like the results of being self-aware. I don't like to talk about growing up because I had it rough, but you know good and well I'm not the one to play your pity on. Everywhere I go, I put my motherfucking city on. I'd be high, I'd be gone, I'd be right, I'd be wrong. And she just sounds like a human that's just passionate and whatnot. But the way she's doing it with the singiness isn't my favorite. The hook is alright. You know, she woke up to a check, you dig. Let me take a deep breath. I ain't going broke again. And I like the fact that in the lines before it, she's talking about how like she's moving forward, take a few steps forward, like 6 steps back, and she's not making it sound like it's the easiest thing in the world, and she's making it sound like a really long journey full of trial and error. style of the music. I like the second verse too. Sometimes I get distracted by madness. Why do tragedies happen? What if I'm not adapting? Friends posting pictures. I'm like, where was I when this happened? People looking at me funny. It's like money's the magnet. And I can relate to a whole bunch of that shit, like missing out on opportunities with friends, not understanding how to process the world as we grow up and handle all sorts of different shits, and you start considering stuff in this social media world. I find I'm very guilty of some of the stuff that millennials get accused of that I would not like to be. But the way she's managing to flip her world and still accomplish is also something I can relate to. I mean, I'm not rich by any means, but I have come a long way from where I come from when I started my journey, and the level of independence and self-sufficiency I have, it's probably more than people would expect by just looking at me. And I want it like that. I'm totally fine with it. Just think the worst of me in terms of that regard. But it's been cool to like grow and watch the changes, watch the people from my past kind of hate me, like what's being described in a lot of these songs and shit. Anyway, I gave this song a 4.15. I think it's really well made for the world that it's in, but and the lyrics are really astoundingly relatable, and some of the most relatable on the project, but the sound is just not my favorite. Anyway, that's the end of the review of Rico, Nasty, and Kenny Beats' Anger Management. I give this album a 4.444. I take it with a grain of salt because anything that's under 20 minutes is kind of like its own little sphere. It shouldn't really be compared to the full-length projects, because to keep somebody's interest for 18 minutes is a lot easier to do than 45. So I'm just saying that. Just take that with a grain of salt with the grades and shit. But I really like how this is a cool like showcase of the wide array of styles she can do. Her writing is on point. In every song, she clearly understands multiple styles, how to ride different kinds of beats while retaining like this core sound of who she is. I'm really impressed by this project. It's definitely cool. I'm really happy that we have so many people in 2019 willing to push boundaries the way that we're seeing happen. And it makes me want to hear what the next Rico Nasty project's gonna sound like. I don't know if it's like my favorite shit in the whole world, but this little anger management project is exceptionally well made, and the rapping is tight. And like when you add in the fact that she's 21 and you consider what the other young people are doing, this is hella intelligent and wise, and more in the spirit of educating people and like trying to make everyone rise together. So I totally support this shit. I would recommend it to anyone. On that note, thank y'all for watching this. I totally appreciate you coming here and taking some time out of your day to like actually see what I have to say about some shit. That means the world to me personally. Feel free to leave any comments about anything that you saw along the way that you're, excited to talk about. You can hit the subscribe button if you'd like. You can hit the like button if you'd like. Do the stuff that helps the YouTube know what's up. And if you do comment, I will personally respond to you and make sure that we can have a little chit chat. Special thanks to the patrons: Ismail Gadamse, J Black, Hurricane, Jonathan Barnes, Chris Prado, and Linda Williams. They support what we do more directly. They helped us get a new camera. They get to tell us what albums to review, and it's a fun process to grow like that too. So if you want to help this channel become something more powerful, that's a great way to go about it. And yeah, we make music too. I dropped a project recently. You can check out on this channel some of the stuff we're doing as we try to build out our little corner of the internet. Thank you for being here. We'll be sure to be checking out more female artists in the near future, so feel free to tell us who we should be listening to. Have yourselves a wonderful day.